Hello and welcome on back to the Joker Tower. So, last time we were starting to build up some actual record keeping of sorts for the musings and the ramblings and the thinkings abouts. And I've decided we definitely need like a whole floor for politics, a whole floor for religion. And I don't know, because in between these things, I go back to the X app and having conversations and stuff, and sadly, still doing some social engineering type stuff on the X posts and whatnot. But more so, like doing a lot of community notes. Like I like to read the articles and see and weigh in on that. Like I'm somewhat an active participant, but usually only pertaining to politics. Like every now and then, it'll ask me, be like, "Hey, could you weigh in on this one?" Could you look at there? This one needs your rating or something like that. So either way, great feature of XApp because it's dispelling rumors and stuff, and the more people are like talking on these things, the more people are realizing, wait, you're not that crazy, but I mean, I still disagree with you here, here, and here, but you're not like this subhuman monster creature that my echo chamber, and everybody has an echo chamber, whether you like it or not. And it took a while for me to figure out just how like intense mine was until Elon took over Twitter, and he just totally just shook things up, made it to where he basically twisted the algorithm so people you would not like see you would see and vice versa, like specifically with politics. Like if you were usually seeing Democratic things, you'd see Republican things, or if you'd see Republican accounts posting things, then you'd see Democrat accounts posting things. And it just like made people like, hey, wait a minute. And then before people understood the gravity of what they were doing by responding to all these things, a bunch of discussions were opened up and a bunch of people started talking. Now, and even people silently observing too. That was like there was an increase in that as well. So then people are able to see other people argue in public and be like, wow, that's just as ugly, if not uglier than, the stuff that I had with my family member, friend, spouse, whatever. Like another person that I know. No matter what range of drama, you see it unfold. And I've seen some pretty gnarly stuff, and I've instigated some pretty gnarly stuff. And like, I've calmed down quite a bit because, well, for one, it doesn't really matter at this point. Like, when we talk about like the political aspect, the election was decided. That love it or hate it or indecisive. I don't think too many people are undecided at this point. I think a lot of people are glad that it's quote unquote over, but there's just so much stuff moving, so many moving parts that it's hard to really feel comfortable with any of it. And that's especially important to not fly off the handle at people and get like as many facts as possible without being overly burdensome. See, that's the point. Is like, or that's the key, is not being overly burdensome. Ugh. And I'm actually going to switch to something a little more fun. I'm going to do some Dark Souls. May or may not add to the playlist, but I'm going to switch up and do something. I mean, this is fun too, but this is more like figuring out, like thinking through things, problem solving. So, and yeah, maybe I'll do it in my spare time, write all the things, but basically just like the gist of it, the general gist is both sides lie. I actually had a conversation with somebody that brought up the injecting bleach thing, and just like the Monty Python thing, where the Python coding language was named after Monty Python, and I still look that up every now and then when I tell somebody that. I'd be like, let me check real quick, just to like do a sanity check myself, because it seems so ridiculous, like a powerful coding language that's so simple and does so much of the work for you, which is also resource intensive, which is kind of a, kind of a drawback. Anyways, that I would want to look up the injecting bleach thing, and I think there's a Snopes article about it. And Snopes is a fact-checking website. And again, if you love it or hate it with Snopes, like if you trust them or not, you can find a few sources. And I actually watched the speech where he talked about bleach. He didn't say injecting bleach. He said, well, actually, let's watch it. I mean, but he was talking about bleach for disinfecting like a room. And then, let's see. I'm actually opening up the YouTube app on my phone. We're going to just show you how quick it is. And my phone's very slow. All right. Trump bleach comment. we'll get an actual recording of it. It's exactly a year since COVID suggested using bleach to treat COVID. This is from the Independent. I don't know. Yeah, an advertisement, which you're already watching. Thank you for watching those. If I ever get monetized, that'll be a thing. But...
That hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing...
Wait, let's see.
Just very powerful light. And I think you said, that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do, either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number in the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So.
Oh man. Well, no, that's important. See right there. Read it right there. All right, the injecting of a disinfectant, not necessarily bleach per se. And this might be where they're splitting hairs. So, okay, actually, let's go write this down though, because this is one of those things. See, I saw a video where in that particular moment that when Trump was talking, he didn't say to inject bleach. The bleach was for disinfecting an area like a spray. But in that just little video right there, he's saying, and you're going to check that. So that looks like a real speech. I mean, it doesn't look AI. And let's see, what's the sources? The Independent with 500 or 895,000 followers. Let's look at the comments. This was 3 years ago. Oh, no, why? Oh, no, not Wikipedia. Send me to a link. Oh, that's the COVID-19. Here we got comments. Okay. It's exactly a year since Trump suggested using bleach to treat COVID, and as you will witness in the following video, Trump never utters the word bleach. Okay, so they're splitting hairs there. Let's see the replies. Was he talking about Pine Sol? He talked about injecting a disinfectant that could combat COVID. Most people I know call disinfectant bleach, kind of like how some people in the South call every soda Coke. Or maybe Fabuloso. But he didn't say to inject bleach as the media told you to believe, and he was talking about the disinfectant in a questioning manner. They've edited so many things he said, it's despicable. Okay, so here's the thing. So yes and no. Let's take this one. I forgot. That's okay. Yeah, no. Never mind. Well, wait, what is this? Like, fun ampersand. Potentially pot Luke ideas. All right, sorry. So about this little background. So the tylenamine, the Tylenamine. So Tylenol, as you know, and I'm not a spokesperson or advocate in any way, but you know, Tylenol, it's a pretty well-known fever reducer, pain reliever here in America. And so what this would be is and you'd have to get the approval from Tylenol, which would be a stretch, maybe, I don't know. It might be a way for a pharmaceutical, actually, I don't know if that's considered. It's more over the counter, so like it is a product that is sold, a whole business based on, I assume, the same or very similar chemical formula forever. I mean, it's not like it's prescribed. So the pharmaceuticals is from like a pharmacy, which is controlled medicines, et cetera, et cetera. But this would actually have to be controlled because at least 21 and up. But it'd be like THC pills, like basically cannabis or marijuana or pot pills. But Tylenamine, and we could put exactly that. THC pills. There you go. What THC is an acronym for the active ingredient in cannabis. There you go. So, and then capybara. Capybara. I think that's how you spell it. Capybara cafes. Capybara. There you go. Capybara cafe. With THC. uh, there's a theme here. All right. Well, anyways, we'll do that for now. So we at least have that. This is your rest. Like you've traveled far, weary traveler. You've made it half a flight of stairs. You can read the funny and potentially lucrative ideas, but there's very limited space on the titles of those. All right. So now I need to go even up higher to get the book. Oh, oops. Oh, that's signing. Okay. Injecting bleach. See, I got tricked. I got tricked, and I don't know if it was intentional or accidental, but anyways, injecting bleach. Let's actually like hit it with a colon. There we go. Trump did say questioningly. We're looking into injecting disinfectant. So it's not bleach, but that's splitting hairs, which means it's not really a significant difference what people are making it sound like. Then that's kind of also straw man. If it's not one thing, it's automatically other, as in there's only two possibilities. Either he did say they're injecting bleach or he never ever said we're going to inject any kind of cleaning soap or disinfectant or etc. into the, yeah, look into injecting disinfectant, which is almost as bad as bleach. It's not exactly bad because bleach is a type of disinfectant. Inject, looking into injecting, sorry, bleach, disinfectant. Sorry, disinfectant. Dog. Ooh, I might actually do some Fortnite disinfectant. There we go. Also, like looking up at the same time. Did not say bleach. And here, we'll just play that again. So the recording's on here. It's a YouTube video. Like if that ever got taken down, and then this got taken down. Okay. Anyways, let's watch it again.
So we'll see, but just very powerful light.
This is Trump.
And I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole country.
So right there you have it. Like I mean, he is talking, but hypothetically, and you know, in all fairness, as long as we said hypothetically, and with very little medical knowledge, but that's not what it is. Like people to fight tooth and nail, like no, he's a genius and all this. Nah, he said kind of a thing like. In hindsight, he might be like, okay, maybe that was a dumb thing to do, but he's on the spot. Like he's just like spitballing ideas there. So he does deserve a little bit of leeway. He wasn't like, hey, you know, go inject yourself with bleach. And he did say, and so the people that are watching him, And this is where like Colbert and stuff get involved. Hold on. Because they're saying like, oh, he's telling his followers to inject bleach. That's dangerous. No, well, what we just heard there was an instance of him saying, we're looking into that. And he's like asking, he's looking off camera asking someone, I assume Dr. Fauci or one of his medical staff, like, you know, we're looking into that. And you heard it there. Hopefully that picked up okay. And that was just a quick YouTube search. I found it. So, um, politics. Yeah, just politics. So injecting bleach. Trump did say questioningly, we're looking into injecting disinfectant, did not say bleach. But the important part did not tell people. So that is important to note. Did not tell people to inject bleach. So that is someone, probably a comedian like Colbert's, like, you know, making it funny, like, you know, blurring lines and making it more ridiculous than it is. And that's funny. That's comedy. That's humor. We joke about it, but then we're like, and when I was talking to somebody, he did tell me, you know, I don't trust somebody that tells people to inject bleach. Like, that's not what we heard here. And if that's the one in question, so that's the first one that came up. I heard a different one. He was also behind the presidential seal in that, like, you know, making a speech or answering questions, I guess, is more what it is. But like Q&A. So let's go back. Yeah. Oh, wait. Actually, like the video. I feel bad because I forget to do that a lot. I think we all do. But so that one looks the same. That one looks the same. Trump attempts to defend injecting bleach. Okay, let's look at that one. It's a 22-second one.
It's all set up. By Easter, this would be gone away. By the warm weather, it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man. That was said sarcastically. That was you know that. That was said sarcastically. And so here's the deal. This man is talking about a vaccine.
Okay, actually, so wait, that doesn't really help one way or the other, because if that's building off of the one that we just listened to, it wasn't sarcastic, but it was questioningly or inquisitively. It wasn't fact, and that's the key point, is he didn't tell people to do it. Now, what he did do, and there was a whole video montage that I've seen on YouTube where it was all the times he told people to get the vaccine. He was proud of the vaccine. Let's see. Oh, shoot. We're not doing that. Sorry. I already had a strike. We're not touching that. I'm sorry. See, doesn't that stink? I actually challenged it. I was like, hey, could you take a look at this? And they did, and they still determined that I said something that could be potentially misleading. So I got to be careful with that. I don't want to get dinged for that. But, which we're going to actually have to address at some point. But I'm going to have like, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. I don't know how I can be more careful. Because it's one of those things is like, they give you the warnings and they're like, hey, you know, this and that. And I think I took it down or at least erased the thing. No, I think I took the video down actually. Or it was taken down for me. But either way, it doesn't matter. The ending is I don't think it's visible. And even then, I was actually agreeing with like the general consensus of like what, like, I wasn't being a denier or anything or a conspiracy theorist. Let's put it that way. So, anyways, and that's just it's a dangerous subject, I guess. Well, I mean, it is because it was so dangerous. But anyways, enough of that. Just in case they don't actually look at it or a robot reviews it again. Anyways, no. But the political spin. So, and I saw that the other big one is actually, let's go right that one too. The good people on both sides. That one. Should we look that up too? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we can. I'll just have it play into the mic. Hopefully, it's picking that up okay. But I mean, and anyone can do that too. And in theory, it should still be available unless it gets taken down. And that's why I want to like get a YouTube account, store locally the stuff that's pertinent, make a web server, have a website that has that. Put the disclaimers up, say this is taken from YouTube on this date with this thing, and that way it's persistent. Even worst case scenario, and something happens to YouTube or the channel or the videos, which actually that's more likely is like the videos got lost, even from a perfectly natural or innocent way, or maybe a diabolical or intentional way, or not even, it doesn't have to be diabolical. Maybe it was like violation of terms and was removed. So many possibilities. But either way, having a Joker Tower, because like for now we have this and we have that, and this video will live on YouTube unless I download it and host it somehow myself. And that's a whole nother thing. One of the floors of this thing needs to be computer programming and projects and stuff like that. And how many floors do we even have? Let's take a quick inventory here. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 7 technically. This is like 0. Floor 0, index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 is on top. In fact, 6 would be probably the memorial place, because then the bridge, it's like easy access, okay. Or even make that the memorial. Have all that. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. What if ghosts are real and they get tethered to a certain point? You know? How would you know? We don't really, except for the people that kind of go back and forth a little bit. Maybe. So, anyways, my point is I heard that during the presidential debate, and Kamala Harris brought up the good people on both sides argument. Granted, Donald Trump brought up they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, and I've yet to see evidence of that. But what are we even doing? We're getting, say, item frames or signs, and then doing that. Hmm. What should we do? Let's just fix up add to it and kind of talk about the stuff. And then, yeah, like I said, I might off camera actually write the books or do the things. But that stuff is important to understand. Like, both sides do cling to things that aren't as relevant or as impactful as people might think. They might be blown out of proportion. Because basically what they were saying is like Trump was a Nazi because he didn't denounce white supremacy during this thing. And it did take him a while. I mean, but I don't think it was because he wasn't against saying it. He was like, it was more his pride saying, I shouldn't have to. What a preposterous thing. Like, who is in support of that? That's ridiculous. And so many, and there's been ridiculous things about Ukraine and like how they're saying they're going to end Nazism in Ukraine. And that doesn't make sense because it's like, most of the supporters coming from America was very unhappy about Nazism. We fought a pretty big war to end that. We did. We ended it. So, I don't know. That's why it doesn't make sense there. But then you get people saying that the Holocaust wasn't real, and that's ridiculous too. Like, we have people that were alive during that time that remember it. We have records. We have names. I mean, unfortunately, we have all these things. Like, it's going to be a dark stain on human history forever, and people are wondering if it's even real. Like, that's a slap in the face. So, yeah. I think that's the other thing too. Is like for the average person that for whatever reason maybe didn't pay attention in school, because you learn about all that stuff, slavery and the Native Americans, and all of the dark parts of our history. And like you can tell the people that would rather not look at it, they're like la 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 or whatever. Like, but they don't understand how that impacts like how the world views us. I mean, our history isn't that long. Like 300 years less than. What was it 1776? We're about 50 years off from being 300 years old. I mean, China's what, thousands of years? 5,000 established? And I say that because I actually took a shot saying, when's TikTok going to be available in China? And I know that they're worried about censorship issues because of all the problems. I mean, granted, there's all the benefits, so they want to take just the good without the work of having to deal with the crazy or the weird or the uncomfortable or the prickly, like the things that we did and had to deal with. Now I'm thinking like law enforcement, like the things that they've seen, like the nonsense, and have to clean up after, and basically some people's kids out there acting a fool. So I guess I could do here. I don't even know what to make here. Like, this is kind of like an open floor plan. We could always fix it later, but at least now it'll look like complete until further notice. Just continue to keep building onto it. I love this. Like, no. They should have different ones, like note blocks that you walk on. Actually, as I say that, but anyways, the spin. As, a close friend and companion back in the day. My first, well, it doesn't have to be first, last, best, worst, whatever. Like a very fond companion of mine that's no longer we don't longer talk anymore. Wow, that was way more complicated. An ex-girlfriend, jeez. But more than that, we were very serious, and like she used to talk all the time about the spin, and like just talking about how politicians lie so much, and it's hard to think that your own party does it, but they do, and and even watching things like the debates, having like both sides fact checked, which is good. And then like I think everybody should have to watch like the end or the following summary explanation of like, okay, here's the follow up to like fact check completely and have further details, because if you're acting like a referee in a game, fact checking people in real time. Like, and I think they maybe had other fact checkers like behind the scenes messaging them, and they'd be like, okay, real quick, back to the other thing. Here's a fact check. So they had like better fact checks brought in, but it all needs to be understood that how much people are lying. And then even just understanding the statistics of, it was what, 9-2, I think, what Trump and Harris like lied or said misleading information. That was the ratio, I want to say. It was something like that. And so, or even maybe like 12-2. It was something, it was definitely not even. It was not even close. It was not like, well, they both did about 3 or 4, maybe even 4 or 5 each. Like, no, it was like over double, if not triple, if not quadruple the amount of stretching the truth. Now, when you're basing an entire campaign on those same exact statements, then that means that your statements are 3 to 4 times more likely to be bogus or wrong or looked unfavorably upon if more information was understood. Like if people had additional context, they might not be so happy about you saying it. It might be like, well, that's kind of lying. Like, it's not completely true. And then, then you lose a little respect for him. It's like, well, if you're going to lie about that, what else are you lying about? Are you just trying to trick me and like con me out of my vote? And, there's so much of that. We've got 30,000 of it. Although, granted, watching that and seeing how just the splitting hairs there, it could go both ways. Like with like the injecting bleach, like it's first off, don't do it. Good Lord, don't. Please refer to the professionals. But Trump saying that he didn't tell the people to do it, so there's that. He did say that they're looking into it, so there's that. I feel like I'm already going to get in trouble for earlier. But anyways, but the good people on both sides, that's another one. And I have seen videos of Trump. Now I want to watch that again. But like, whoops! I was just setting the controller down. Jeez, the dangers of fact checking. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Good people on both sides. Sides full clip. Here we go. It's a 4-minute one, so this one's a little longer.
And white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other.
Actually, real quick, that's important too, because he's not saying, like, I'm not doing that. You're doing that. You're putting words in his mouth at that point.
And they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, or you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
Okay.
Both sides, sir. You said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either.
Oh.
And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
Nazis started this. They showed up in Charlottesville. They showed up in Charlottesville to protest.
Excuse me. They didn't put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group. Excuse me. I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. No, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, excuse me, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now we're going to take down his statue. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should
Okay, and important right there. He says, I'm not talking about those people. Okay.
be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. Now, in the other group also, you had some fine people, but you also had troublemakers, and you see them come with the black outfits and with the helmets and with the baseball bats. You had a lot of bad people in the other group.
And that's true too. I mean, even with the riots, we had riots and protests. We had both here, and I know the alarm went off, so I'll try to finish this up quickly. But like here in Colorado, we had Elijah McCain, which was a huge part of the BLM movement. That whole issue, and then all the riots, and they call it like the Summer of Love, I think, to like mock how the Democrats handled it and all this stuff. And I mean, what I remember is hearing from my cop buddy in Aurora talk about having bottles of of urine thrown at him and rocks, and like, you know, that's what the cops are having to deal with. So I sympathize with them clearing out an unruly mob. Now, there was a gray area to where there was peaceful protests or not. And even the one, like, there were these musicians that started getting shot with rubber bullets because they refused to stop playing, even though some other people were becoming unruly. Like someone else like threw something at a cop, hit a cop with like a rock or a bottle or something, and like, but assaulted a cop basically. And they're like, all right, that's enough, let's go. And that's what it is. And there was an interesting concept of like people having bait bricks, like, you know, like nefarious people stocking up areas with weapons, projectiles. And it was a meme that I posted that I remember seeing that. So definitely not anything substantial, but like there was a picture of a stack of bricks where they were protesting, and it was interesting. It was like, well, maybe they're doing some road work or some construction project there, but that'd be worth looking into. Be like, well, wait, were they, or was that? And then like look at street cameras. Like, did somebody intentionally bring a pile of bricks over there? And even if that's just false, like the idea of it is all it takes is, yeah, the musicians were probably doing fine. Like none of them were cursing, screaming, or like throwing things at the cops, but all it takes is, you know, one or two people to do it, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's go, this is done, we're done, we're shutting it down. And tensions were already high on both sides. And so in what Trump's talking about there with the good people on both sides is, in that clip he did say not white supremacists, not white nationalists. So then other people are like confusing things if they say, ask later, wait, did you condemn these people? And like making him say it over and over again, to where it's like, no, did you not listen the first time? Or like, you know, show me where I said yay white supremacists. And South Park does a great job about addressing that too in the flag episode. Like they have the Republicans and the Democrats, and you know, Jimbo's on the Republican side, and he's like, you know, the flag shouldn't be changed. It's actually exactly about that. He's like, the flag shouldn't be changed. And yeah, that's a whole great episode. And but then there's a bunch of KKK that show up, and they're like, you know, we support you, brother. Let's keep the flag the same. And it was a flag a picture of hanging a black person in the slave days, like, so very offensive. And the kids, so okay, spoilers, but the kids didn't see the racism in it. They thought people were upset because it was someone getting killed. They're like, violence has been around forever. People have been killing each other since the BC days. And then the people in the courtroom are like, wait, no, you missed the point. Like, it's a black person. They look at it like, oh. And so then their solution was to make a flag where all of these people were hanging a black person, including a black person. So it was more like, hey, this is just violence, but we took the racism out because we can change that. Like, and then they were talking about the swastika and how Germany wasn't proud of the swastika after the horrible things that happened. So then history was changed for that. It wasn't changed, it still exists, but it isn't celebrated. And so we have statues. It'd be like, I mean, it's not exactly the same, but it's similar because statues celebrating people that fought so hard for a thing against, well, slavery was like one of the biggest reasons. Like, it would have completely changed industry for the South, bankrupted them because it would have destroyed their economy because their economy ran off the backs of other people, of literally. And I'm actually reading Yagazi's Homegoing right now, which actually talks. It's a really good book. I won't spoil anything out of that, but like, it starts with like the African side of the slave trade and gets kind of like some in perspective of that. But not everybody's gonna sit there and read a book like that. But anyways, my point is, things are exaggerated, things are blown out of proportion, and that part of the fake news makes sense. And I've had people flip out. I've actually lost a friend and then started talking to him again much later because I wasn't radical enough. And I'm like, well, hold on now. They didn't really say it like that. So, anyways, point of the story is, this whole episode is, things aren't always, well, perception can be altered. And so you should always check and investigate if it seems a little too, if it's too good or too weird to be true, it maybe is. So, all right. Ta-ta for now. I'll see you in the next one. Well,